Welcome to Touch Base Tuesdays, where we touch base on Tuesdays. Yesterday I posted something on Twitter that I shared on other platforms as well. I wrote, how much more preventable death will it take for us to prevent more preventable death? I was thinking very specifically about Aaron Bushnell, the U.S. military individual who died by self-immolation on Sunday in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. I was thinking of Nex Benedict, the non-binary teen who died in Oklahoma. And Aaron's act of suicide that he made very clear was protest for what has been happening in Gaza reminded me of Kathy Change, a performance artist and activist who died by self-immolation in October 1996 on the University of Pennsylvania campus, which is where I went to undergrad. There's a peace sign erected in her honor where she died. It's right outside the main library on campus, and it's a site often used for protest and art activation on campus, at least when I was an undergrad. I remember that's where we had Take Back the Night my freshman year, which was the first time I ever publicly talked about being a survivor of multiple counts of sexual assault. And so I am thinking of also the tens of thousands of people who have died in Gaza and the West Bank and Israel on October 7th, and the tens of hundreds of thousands of people who are dying all over the world, and all the deaths that are preventable. And I am thinking about the notion of pekuah nefesh, which in Jewish tradition is the idea of pekuah, saving, nefesh, a soul, saving a life, and how so many other practices and traditions and religious laws in Judaism go out the window in favor of always first honoring pekuah nefesh, saving a life. And I've been thinking about how if there is this much preventable death, then we are clearly not, as a planet, on the same page about what it means to save a life and what lives are valued and what lives get to live. And then I've been thinking about language as a writer, as a former Latin and classical studies major in undergrad. I have a lot of patience for our variance in language, that we all have and use different language, often to describe the same things. We do not have the same language to describe what is happening in the world right now, whether that's in Palestine or Israel or Sudan or the Congo or Haiti or Rikers Island or things that are happening down the block from me right here in Park Slope, Brooklyn. We don't have the same language to describe all of that. But I honestly, I have patience for that. As someone who works with language, as a poet, as a writer, as a journalist, I understand words matter, and I also understand we have different dialects for how we approach what we experience and what we witness. I am losing my patience for our variance on how we value life. I'm trying hard to be patient, but I don't have much patience left. What's it going to take? This death, this extreme, excessive death happening worldwide is preventable. And yet, we are choosing as a society, as a species, as a planet, to allow it to subsist. At some point, I think we have to get on the same dialect page about the value of life, even if we continue to use different words and language to get there. There's got to be some consensus on human dignity and life. And that's what I got. Di Barti. Take care.